where is all the money going? Because there's this saying, money's never gone, just someone else has it. And if we're looking at the markets at the moment, literally everything is down this year. Commodities are pretty much the exception, but stocks are down, bonds are down, crypto is down. Real estate just hasn't repriced yet, but if it were liquid, and you can look at REITs, real estate investment trusts, they are down as well. Precious metals are down. The only thing that's up is commodities, and that's simply because of all the supply chain issues. So the magic question here is, where's all this money going? Because if you could bet on where all this money is going or where it's going next, you could actually get really, really wealthy, because obviously that would mean that that thing would be driven up. And so in this short video, I want to kind of explain a bit the concept there, and talk maybe also a bit on some misconceptions in all of that. Okay, I just had to bypass that. First of all, where's all the money going? The money is actually simply disappearing. And this sounds crazy because the statement always says that money never disappears, it just goes to someone else. But in this case, it's very different. And the reason why it's so different is because over the past 2 years especially, the Fed printed massive amounts of money. And this money actually flowed into the markets. And that money is actually now, on the one hand, going into the US dollar, so it's being sold again. And the Fed is actually also removing it. So that is part of the story. But that's actually the smallest part, the smaller part of the story. The bigger part of the story is that market caps are being calculated based on the last trading price over everything. So if there were, let's say, 4 houses, and each house would sell for, and you bought the house for, I don't know, let's say $100,000, then all the 4 houses would be worth, market cap would be $400,000. Let's say one of those houses, just one, is being bought for $250,000 because $150,000 extra dollars come into the system. So this one house is being bought for $250,000. All the owners then say, oh, my house is also worth $250,000, and suddenly there's not $400,000 market cap anymore, but it's 4 times 250,000, so it's $1 million in market cap. But it's not that 600,000 extra dollars came into the system, it's just a calculated value. However, now everyone sits there and is like, oh great, I'm worth $250,000. This entire thing here is worth $1 million. Now, if one house would then just drop in price and would come back, let's say, to $100,000, well, all the houses drop back down again, and suddenly the money disappears. And people would be like, okay, where did all the money go? What can I invest in? Where's this money going? And the difficult answer here is the money was never there. It was just a calculated value. And so the tricky part in all of that is that people sit here today and they feel like just 6 months ago, I was worth so much more, and now I'm worth so much less. And they tend to forget that their value 6 months ago was not a real value. It wasn't actually real. I get it. You could have sold it, but if everyone would have sold at that point, the price would have dropped to the original price. So the difficult situation that we're all in, and I just want to be very clear here, is what we are seeing right now is just this repricing of market caps. And we see this in crypto, and we see this in stocks, and we see this in bonds, and we see this in real estate, and we see this in precious metals. We see this in anything. And it's almost impossible to kind of protect yourself from that. Because even if you went into the dollar, yes, the dollar would be the measuring stick, and you would obviously have lost the least this year. It's still extremely difficult to not see your purchase power go down, even if you stayed in dollars. And it has nothing to do with this ecosystem. It's nothing that you can sit here today and say, oh, but I want to protect myself from losing purchase power. There are times when it's extremely easy not to miss out on purchase power, and this was especially the last 2 years. And there are times when it's almost impossible not to lose purchase power. And I think these are the times at the moment. And so the way to approach this is always the same way. You need to approach this via 3 steps, and I've given those to you all the time. In times like these right now, where it's so difficult to just keep your purchase power. You want to be diversified. That's the key thing. You don't want to bet on one thing. You want to bet on not being wrong, not trying to be right. Key thing. The other thing, whatever you bet on, make sure you bet on the less volatile, the safer kind of options, right? If you're going for stocks, go for the safer stocks. If you go for real estate, go for the real safer ones. If you go for bonds, go for the safer bonds, and so on and so on and so on. So it's always the same kind of mindset in any of those things. And the last part, you need to get cash flow. In times like these, cash flow is king, because at the end, cash flow is what increases your purchase power when all the assets are going down. And it's just almost impossible for assets not to go down if the market is compressing. So the way to avoid this during these times is via cash flow. And then there's other times, right, and we've known this probably the last 15 years, where actually cash flow was not king. Cash flow was actually bad, if you want to call it, because it was better to gain from the repricing of the assets on the uptrend. So I just want to explain that to you. I want to give you the strategy. Obviously, we, with our company Cake DeFi, are really well positioned in all of that because we provide people cash flow on their crypto. So if you have Bitcoins or ETH or dollars or DeFi chain or Litecoin or whatever coins, check out cakedefi.com and sign up, get cash flow on your crypto. And I hope this is going to provide a better financial future to you. With that, I hope that gives you value. If it does, leave me a like, a nice comment, share this video if this is an aha moment for you. If you have any questions on the current market sentiment, market environment, you can just post it and I'll try to make a video around this. And yeah, with that, have a good rest of the week. Talk later. Yours truly, Julian. Bye-bye.